knew something was wrong. Once again, over the course of millennia, our perception of ourselves and our world has largely been shaped by our media. The first externalization of human thought, the first medium, is the spoken word. The first medium to add permeance to the externalization was the written word. The first medium to organize this permeance was language. With the invention of the alphabet, we gave ourselves a way to express ourselves serially and sequentially. It became possible to explain our thoughts in an organized manner. The alphabet gave us our first objective frame of reference. However, because of its inherent structure, the alphabet has also forced us into thinking in separate step-by-step fragments. Each individual letter means nothing on its own. It is only when they are strung together in the correct order that they carry meaning. Nevertheless, written language has enabled us to build our civilizations. It allowed us to build cities, roads, vehicles, machines, engines, and computers. The printing press confirmed and extended the medium of the written word by making it easily duplicated. It put knowledge into the hands of the common man. While this certainly fosters the individual mind, it continues to force us to think serially. However complex, the printed word always has a beginning, an end, and a proper sequence. Electric media, however, beginning with the telegraph and currently ending with the World Wide Web, has drastically increased the speed and volume of information that we are forced to process in communicating with the world around us. Unlike serial media, such as the written word, electric media has almost no concept of time and space. Marshall McLuhan, in his 1967 masterpiece, The Medium is the Massage, said it best. The instantaneous world of electrical informational media involves all of us, all at once. No detachment or frame is possible. With the fourth and fifth layers of electric communication infrastructure firmly in place, we are bound closer to each other than ever before. We are all involved, all at once. We have no choice but to make choices. In the age of mass, your perception of yourself was largely defined in terms of your environment. Upon being born, you are immediately classified as a member of any number of groups or collectives. Your membership in these collectives was not volitional, but rather inherited. The most obvious inherited membership is that to your family. The most broad is your race. For example, let's say you were born into an established upper-class family in Haifa in 1958. Many attributes of your life have already been predetermined. You probably attended a distinguished high school. You are likely an engineer with a degree from Technion. You have certainly served in the army, and you are most certainly Jewish. On the opposite side of the same coin, if you, having been born into this lifestyle, had wanted to marry a Christian woman or study jazz instead of engineering, you would likely be considered an outcast. As you can see, in the industrial age, you are largely defined by your inherited collective grouping. With such an onslaught of external pressure, it becomes virtually impossible to keep even your self-perception clear. For centuries, social and religious leaders have maintained their reign by preaching self-sacrifice to a higher ideal. A typical religious construct is that man is infinitely small and that the universe is infinitely large. Any individual attempt to comprehend the world in terms of a single solitary mind was futile and arrogant. Any members of the collective who attempted to do so were punished or exiled. The collective perception was reinforced with the introduction of the nation-state. In 1651, Thomas Hobbes, industrial political theorist, said that cooperation could only develop with the help of a benign central authority. Without top-down government, Hobbes claimed, there would be only collective selfishness. Centuries later, political theories advocating the good of society as a whole, as opposed to the good of the individual, were implemented. Examples are socialism and communism, advocated by politicians such as Vladimir Lenin. In recent years, it has been vividly demonstrated that these types of societies are unworkable. The internet, in spite of the proponents of central authority, has inadvertently become a prototype for a completely different social order. Rather than being classified by forced collective groupings, you decide with whom you associate based on reason. You choose your memberships voluntarily and to your own benefit. In a world of networked intelligence, the better you understand your own individual needs and desires, the more you stand to gain. In the industrial age of many, your identity was, and still is, defined by your inherited collectives. As soon as you begin your life, you are slotted into a family, which is in turn slotted into a neighborhood or some other such demographic. The neighborhood is part of the city, which is part of a country. Commonly, the members of the same country share the same religion, which you, as a citizen of that country, would be expected to honor. Finally, at the most collective level, you are born unto a race. The horrific reality is that the more generic the collective grouping, the more vulnerable it becomes to prejudice. At the same time, the more we submit to the collective thrust upon us, the more we abandon our faculty of reason. In the information age of one, your personal identity is all you are. Or as Tom Peters would put it, you are your own brand. How you project yourself over the network through volitional choices based on reason is exactly how you appear and how you are perceived by others. To think is to act, and to act is to think. Physical discrimination based on tangible factors such as age, sex, and race disappears in the world of bits, since you only perceive others as they wish to be perceived. Conversely, you are only perceived as you wish to be perceived. You are what you project. Collectivist discrimination based on implied association, such as geography or religion, disappears as well, since there are no competing external pressures. Since you are free to choose with whom you associate, you will only choose those who offer you the potential for growth and production. The complex, adaptive, distributed network known today as the Internet is the perfect form in which to perceive ourselves in such a selfish manner. The reasons are twofold. The first reason is that in a distributed network, those nodes that have a high degree of differentiation place a demand pull on all the other nodes in the network. This means that the more individualized you become, the more weight you carry, and the more contacts you attract. The second reason is Metcalfe's law of network value. It states that the value of the network is directly proportional to the square of the number of nodes. This means that the value of the network as a whole, our society, increases with every individual mind added to that network. In the network era, the better you understand yourself, the more capable you become of processing the flood information that pours upon us. Those who perceive and improve themselves with the most scrutiny will be the most successful. It is as Ayn Rand says in her novel Anthem, I am, I think,